Hi friends, welcome to my channel, Unsettling Stories. As always, I have brought another horror story for you today. So, let's listen to this story. Before we start the story, turn off your lights and close your doors, and get ready to listen to this terrifying story. Let's start. A friend in the woods. A few years ago, I moved to a small, quiet town surrounded by dense woods. I had always enjoyed nature, so the idea of living near the forest was appealing. I spent most weekends exploring the trails, taking in the fresh air, and enjoying the solitude. But one weekend, I experienced something that still sends chills down my spine. It was late autumn, and the days were getting shorter. I decided to take a walk on a trail I hadn't explored yet. The path was narrow, winding deeper into the woods than I expected. The further I went, the quieter it became. There were no birds singing, no rustling leaves, just an eerie silence that felt unnatural. After about an hour of walking, I came across a small clearing. In the center stood an old, dilapidated cabin. The windows were broken, and the wooden walls were covered in moss. It looked like it hadn't been touched in years. Curious, I approached the cabin. The door creaked open with a gentle push, revealing a dusty interior filled with old, rotting furniture. As I stepped inside, I noticed a strange smell, something earthy and metallic. I couldn't place it, but it made my stomach churn. Despite the smell, I continued to explore. The cabin was small, just one room with a table, a couple of chairs, and a bed covered in tattered blankets. On the table, there was an old journal. The cover was worn, and the pages were yellowed with age. I opened it to the first page and saw that it was a diary. The entries were written in a messy scrawl, recounting the life of someone who had lived in the cabin. The entries were mundane at first, talking about the weather, hunting, and daily chores. But as I flipped through the pages, the tone of the writing changed. The author started mentioning a friend who visited them in the woods. The entries became increasingly paranoid, with the author writing about hearing footsteps outside the cabin at night and seeing shadows moving between the trees. The last few entries were nearly illegible, written in a frantic hand. The final entry read, "The friend in the woods, he's not human. He's coming for me. If anyone finds this, stay away from the woods. He's watching." A cold shiver ran down my spine. I quickly closed the journal and left the cabin, feeling an overwhelming sense of dread. As I stepped back outside, the silence of the woods felt oppressive. I hurried back to the trail, my heart pounding in my chest. As I walked, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig made me jump. I quickened my pace, my eyes scanning the trees for any sign of movement. Then, I heard it, footsteps behind me. They were slow, deliberate, matching my pace. I stopped and turned around, but there was nothing there. The footsteps stopped as well. I stood there, holding my breath, listening. After a few moments of silence, I started walking again, faster this time. The footsteps resumed, this time closer. Panic set in, and I broke into a run. I could hear the footsteps behind me, now running as well. I didn't dare look back. I just ran as fast as I could, my lungs burning, my heart racing. The trail seemed longer than I remembered, and it felt like I would never make it out of the woods. Finally, I saw the trailhead in the distance. I sprinted towards it, the footsteps still behind me. As I burst out of the woods and onto the main road, the footsteps stopped. I turned around, gasping for breath, but there was nothing there, just the dark, silent woods. I never went back to that trail. In fact, I stopped hiking altogether. Whatever was in those woods, whatever that friend was, I didn't want to encounter it again. Even now, when I think back to that day, I can still hear those footsteps in the back of my mind, and I can't help but wonder if something followed me out of those woods, and if it's still watching. Thanks you for watching.